What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Aftersound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here in this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. All right, guys, another week, another town hall in the books. Well, I guess another 2 weeks and another town hall in the books. This one for February 1st, Thursday, February 1st of the year 2024. These are my 5 biggest takeaways. Now, for those of you who might be new to the channel or new to just this series, every time there is a town hall, I will just do like the 5 main things that kind of stuck out to me and expand on those. So this is not a summary. There are other fantastic Splinterlands content creators who do full summaries that you should go check out and support, but these are just the 5 things that I thought were worth sharing with you. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Number 1, these are the upcoming updates next Tuesday. And I usually don't, add the updates as something that's like a takeaway, especially when there's nothing major, but there's just a lot of them, right? So I figured I would just put them out over here. We give a new rule set, which looks like the Reach icon. They didn't say what it will be, but it sounds like it's going to be a new rule set that will have something to do with Reach. So maybe every monster gets Reach or every unit gets Reach, which would be kind of cool. There will also be pre-proposals added to the site. Right now, you have to kind of do that in a backwards way or secondhand way through a Hive post. And that has, it may have some benefits, but it's not perfect and it's not visible. So having them directly on the website where you can go through, see all proposals, both active proposals as well as pre-proposals, that to me is fantastic. And we haven't had anything in a while, at least anything major. So hopefully this process will spur more pre-proposals in the future. It sounds like there's going to be a lot of updates to Market as well as your collection page, where you'll be able to do multi-card actions. So this is something, if you use peak monsters, for example, then this is nothing major for you, right? Because in the game, you can't really do much with like multiple cards. If you select a bunch of cards, you can't all list them for the same price or whatever the case is. You can't rent cards or delegate cards. You have to do it one by one, which is really, really annoying and frustrating. So the team is finally pulling this in. So shout out to Peak Monsters for, serving the community many, many years before with cool features like that. But it is finally coming in game, which is going to be important because while it may be second nature for folks like myself who have been around the ecosystem for a while, for new players, which is what we're hoping we get a lot of over the next 18 to 24 months, you want all of this stuff in game. So it's good to see that the team is finally getting that in. And then finally, we haven't heard this in a while, the buzzword tech modernization. It sounds like the shop page is going to go there. Or sorry, maybe not the shop page, either the shop or the market page. Actually, I think it's the market page. So forget what I wrote down there. It seems like we're moving in that way. Basically, my main takeaway was this. We're still moving in that direction towards tech modernization, which is important because if you haven't been to the website, Splinterlands, on your phone in a while, you will notice a very stark difference between pages that have been upgraded with tech modernization and pages that have not. It is much easier and much more, just easier to navigate the pages that are tech modernized. So I don't know how far we are from getting all of that. Obviously, the battle screen and everything is probably going to take a little while. But once we're there, at least the mobile experience will be upgraded. Now, the mobile app, that's another story altogether. But if people can have a decent experience just playing on mobile, that could at least be a stepping stone for, getting the masses on board one day. So those are the Tuesday updates. That's number 1. Let's go ahead and jump into number 2. We had a couple of updates on land. Honestly, nothing to write home about. There wasn't anything there. Matt was very clear to explicitly say, we don't give dates, but, some of the stuff is coming soon and it's being worked on. So I was really hoping to hear more about the 1.6, updates, specifically grain the grain LP. But we did hear something about grain, which was interesting. And that is the team is considering allowing you to transfer grain between your own plots between different regions. Somebody had brought that up to him, and to his point, like he didn't see a reason why we couldn't do that. Now, here's the thing. He put out a bunch of different ideas and said that obviously nothing is set in stone, but maybe we could do it where if you have a certain amount of SPS staked, you get it for free or a certain amount every week, or maybe there's a reduction or a different kind of fee. Again, essentially like using different assets, specifically like SPS and staking SPS as one of the ways to like incentivize that and give it a little bit more utility. Now, from a principle standpoint, this was not part of this was not part of the white paper, being able to transfer between regions. Everybody kind of knew that head on, right? And so I kind of don't like the change back. Granted, it doesn't affect me, right? And I only first of all, I'm a small landholder. And secondly, I got all of my plots in the same region, right? So I'm not trying to say this as like, oh, I'm a goody two shoes, I was following directions, but I was playing to the rules, right? I was playing to the rules, and maybe some others weren't. And here's the thing, even though I feel that way from a principle standpoint, if it will get people to participate in land more, then I don't see anything necessarily wrong with it. Although I love the idea of like just burning a ton of stuff because, there's just high taxes and fees. Now, here's the thing, right? So I'm trying to play both sides of this just to show you there are pros and cons. If we were to get something like that, if we were to implement something like that, I may actually decide to get more land, because right now I'm in Area 51 and the premium in Area 51 is super high. But if all of a sudden I can just start getting land in other places and just start farming grain and send that wherever I need to go, well, that could be pretty interesting. Now, the secondary effect here that nobody's really talking about, including Matt on the channel, was, okay, grain is just for 1.5. And if we're expecting 2.0 or elements of 2.0 later this year in 2025, what happens with all those resources? Are you able to transport those resources for free too, right? Do you still get the same benefits? Are they extended there? And so, again, I don't know what the answer to that is. My guess is if they're going to allow it for grain, then they're probably going to allow it for all the other resources too, which kind of takes away, once again, from areas specializing, right? You want to have all of your plots in the same place, which is what Matt was saying. So I can see it both ways, right? Like, we built it one way for that. And if we choose to go another way, you might get more engagement, but it's also like for folks that maybe ended up paying that premium. Again, I didn't, but for folks that ended up paying that premium, they're going to be like, oh, well, here we go with the rules changing again, right? I can already hear that. That kind of sentiment popping up. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I thought that was interesting. That was really the only major land update, unless I missed something else. But if I missed it, it's because it didn't catch my attention. Hopefully there is some update on the next town hall, which should be in about 2 weeks. All right, number 3, ranked update. So we got a major like alpha kind of broad view of what Matt had planned for the ranked update in the last town hall. And then if you saw the interview that he did with Drew something, I apologize, Drew, but just go to Gold Matters Twitter. Gold Matters was posting on it, so shout out to Gold Matters. There was a fantastic. He gave a great breakdown there, and then he was also on the People's Guild podcast. So shout out to People's Guild talking about it as well. So again, I think that being able to talk through all of the ideas, all the different things is fantastic, but we got even more alpha. And again, these are all ideas. So just keep in mind that it sounds like while the team is working on these updates and they're saying that it's going to come very soon, it's not like, it sounds like it's still very much an idea phase. And I don't know how long it's going to take for development work to get done and then for any like creative or UI UX assets that need to be done. So my guess, and I'm just throwing this and pulling this out of my butt, my hope is that we can get it in or around the time, before or around the time of the halving, which is at the end of April. And that's about a little under 3 months away, but that's just kind of like in my mind that the team is not committed to any timeframes. Now, the cool, interesting thing that they talked about was the ability to collect R shares and points to buy reward chests. Because one of the issues is that, let's say you're at the top of gold, like myself, and you're just killing it, getting all these, in gold 1, you're getting all these R shares, and then that leads to a lot of gold chests. Well, the moment I go into diamond, I'm at the bottom of diamond earning, low diamond reward shares for diamond reward chest, which have a higher R share threshold. So all of a sudden it's like I could stay in gold 1 and earn like 12 chests a day, or I could go to diamond 3 and earn like 3 chests a day. And to Matt's point, he's really trying to do this from a top-down level, wipe the board clean and say, we need to make it so that there is no incentive, no disincentive for people to go up the ranks. They should always be trying to get higher and higher. So in comes the idea of not getting reward chests, at least in the way that we're used to, but just collecting the R shares as kind of points that you can go redeem at a store, right? Imagine going like a Chuck E. Cheese or some kind of arcade store. Sorry for people who don't get the reference, like where you just go in and you know those arcade stores where you go and you get like a bunch of tickets, and then when you're done, you submit your tickets in for all these different kinds of like rewards and candy, whatever. So it would be something like that where you could go and choose which kind of chest do you want. Maybe you buy, a million bronze chests. Maybe you buy, 100 champion chests, and you could just hoard them or you could use them later. Some people were saying, well, hey, what happens if people decide to just hoard them? And as soon as the new Soulbound reward cards come out, well, all of a sudden they just go in and they have like an almost maxed Soulbound deck. I mean, in theory, in a vacuum, that's not the greatest, but at the same time, they did sacrifice for 2, 3, 4, 5 months of not getting any other rewards because of whatever they chose, right? So no SPS, no potions, nothing. And so I don't know. I'm actually really open to that idea. I think it's fantastic. And also, here's the best part. I think the team can get really creative with what they put in there. Again, all of that stuff can be soulbound. And while, maybe not cosmetics or whatever, you could get it to a situation where like these R shares could be redeemed for some other cool things in games, right? So it becomes this other, almost like a soulbound token where you just start collecting it over time. And the only way you could collect is by actually playing the game. But the only fear with that is, if it gets botted like crazy and you have all these, bots that have just started collecting their R shares for whatever, and then you put out some like, cool promo card, or not promo card, but some cool reward that might have tangible value, might actually have value. That's the only time in which I think we can get into trouble. But if I'm calling this out already, I'm sure somebody on the team is already thinking about it. So we don't need to go far down that rabbit hole. All in all, I like the ideas around all, the full ranked update. I think it's going to be fantastic when it does arrive, and I'm hopeful that it does arrive here in the first half of the year. So we'll go ahead and leave that where it is. Okay, number 4. SPS Chest Rewards. Now, I hadn't really thought about this, and I remember we read the not the white paper, but the post a while back. I did not realize, and here's the important part, neither did Matt, that the SPS Chest Rewards are not split out between Modern and Wild. So yes, you have pools available for ranked play, right? So what you earn from battles, and you can clearly see if you play in Gold Modern versus Gold Wild, you earn a lot more. Same thing with, Diamond, basically all the leagues. But what ends up happening is that the SPS in reward chest is split between Modern and Wild. So if you're earning gold level chests and you get SPS in there, then you're sharing that both in Modern and in Wild. And you know what? I've noticed that gold chest, right? Gold reward chests in Modern are paying significantly lower than Diamond, to a point where I was like, okay, I was just accepting it as RNG or whatever the case is. Maybe I got some big reward chests in Diamond, but this actually makes a lot more sense now because the bots rise up the ranks relatively easily in Wild, and I'm sure there are a hell of a lot of bots playing in Gold versus playing in Diamond. So when I was getting Modern Diamond reward chests, right, or just Diamond reward chests in general, the SPS from that was being split between less accounts, right? And so that's why, if you go all the way down the totem pole, all the way down to bronze, those reward chests of SPS have pretty much nothing in them. So it'll be interesting to see now that that's been brought to their attention. I don't know if this is going to need a governance vote. I feel like it'll have to, just out of principle, but I would love to see the SPS chest rewards be split out between the different formats just to even further incentivize people to play in Modern if they can. So that's that. This is coming. The thing is, this is coming up like what, 18 months, like a year and a half after things went live. So I'm glad that it's being brought to the surface, and I'm hoping that we as a community can take action, and the team can take subsequent action based off of that in order to make that change. And if you don't think that that's a good idea, please let me know why. But I think if we incentivize and split it out appropriately, just half and half, that'll make the rewards in Modern even better. So that's at least a hope. Okay, and then number 5, we do have some bonus items, but number 5 is the burn event. So again, no major details on any kind of burn event. It sounds like there's still an ideation phase about that. And if anything, somebody made a suggestion during the Q&A saying, well, why don't you just push it 1 month and have it be around when the Bitcoin halving is? And Matt was open to the idea, but also saying that they had planned on doing something for the Bitcoin halving, just like they did the Halfling Alchemist 4 years ago. So I don't know if they just make like a huge event that ends up being like, the promo cards and whatever for all of, the first half of the year, Q1 and Q2, rather than doing quarterly promo cards, which is what I thought that it was going to be, right? With burn event in Q1 and then, some kind of halving event in Q2, but maybe they just combine it just because they haven't had a chance to really knock it out. We'll have to see what the timing ends up being, but the fact that we haven't really heard much and it sounds like it's still an idea phase leads me to believe we're probably not going to see it in Q1, even though Matt's pushing for it, especially now that people are saying, yeah, why not just do it with the halving event? The other parts of this is that they're going to put two proposals, right? They want the DAO to pay for development, and then they want the DAO to provide Rift Watcher packs for rewards. Okay, the second one we already know, so let's go back to the first one. They want the DAO to help cover some of the development because here's the thing. If the team was to create promo cards, they would be selling it to us and it would be considered team revenue. But if it's going to be done to help the ecosystem, right, and it's going to be, in a sense, in this way now, somewhat owned by the DAO to help burn a bunch of cards. And, they even said they'll probably include vouchers and DEC in there as well, just to give people a bunch of opportunities to burn things. And the voucher one, that was disappointing because it's just like, yeah, we have a ton of voucher syncs planned, but they're very far away. So we need something in the meantime because obviously we're just going to be printing 40,000 a day. So here's the thing. I don't mind the DAO paying for stuff. At the end of the day, I think if it's going to be something that helps the DAO build value, and this is not through the DAO like getting a bunch of DEC, because I think all that should be burned, but if it helps the ecosystem grow, right? So even if it's a DEC burn event, I think ultimately it ends up being something beneficial overall. I don't know how much money they're going to ask for. Maybe if they ask for too much, that's going to be a little bit of like a head scratcher, and maybe we'd have to reconsider. But they asked for $250K for Rebellion. I cannot imagine it's going to be higher than that. In fact, I cannot even imagine it is going to be that, because that was for an entire kind of set, right? Even if you consider it a sweetheart deal. So we'll have to see what they end up doing. I'm not opposed to it though, because either the team would be making money or the DAO can, pay the team and have that value transfer over to the community. I know a lot of people don't like that concept, don't agree with it, maybe don't even understand it. I'm okay with it up to a certain extent. What we need to do is get the DAO to be self-funding over time, and I know Clay is working on that, and we need the team to be self-funding over time as well. But right now, they're in this weird symbiotic state, and we just got to get through it together. That's all it comes down to. Okay. Final things, bonus items. Somebody they put an idea out there of like, if you have a bunch of extra soulbound cards that you can't do anything with and you don't want to unlock them, can you like burn them for something? In other games, you can burn things for dust and then go redeem that dust for something else. So, there's an idea thrown out of like, you could burn extra soulbound cards for dust and then use those to mint other soulbound cards that you don't have. I think that's a cool idea. I think Matt was entertaining it. I personally don't think that we're going to see that, just because it sounds like there would be a lot of execution involved. For something that not many people would end up taking advantage of. It's really just a smaller group of players at the top who have all these extras. But that's just my thought in terms of like realistic expectations. They did throw a bone to all the Soulkeep players. So if you're looking for Soulkeep update, there is no Soulkeep update on the game itself, sadly. But they're trying to throw a bone to, I guess, keep the wolves at bay for another 2 weeks by saying that, by essentially giving out the titles and potentially like game PFP avatars that you can use. So shout out to Investigator. Nate gave props to Investigator for just trying to keep this thing moving along. Investigator, one of my favorite people on the team. He's super cool, super chill dude. And so, he's been pushing for this, especially around all the Soulkeep stuff. So, if you bought 500 packs or whatever the threshold was, you might get a title in game. You might get a cool new avatar, and who knows how all that's going to play out with the upcoming, ranked system and cosmetics and all that. That should be super fun. And then last item, shout out to Investigator again, who talked about just kind of threw a little thing in there, ad lib after Matt saying like, there might be some other unranked, so keyword unranked gameplay options coming in the future, which I don't know. That gets me kind of excited, because I was just making I think I made a video about this, right? I just want more game modes that I can play the actual game once I run out of energy, right? Once I run out of energy, once I run out of tournaments, and once I run out of brawls, I want to just go and be able to play the game. And right now, the challenge option or the practice option is just not doing it, because I play in gold, and you just go up against like the level 1 or novice level bots that the team has set up, just so that there's something, some match liquidity there. So I don't know what this ends up looking like in the future, but exciting times nonetheless in the world of Splinterlands. So that is all I have for you guys in this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Otherwise, I will catch you all in the next one and see you around the game. Take care.